Don't forget to mute yourself. What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Big up yourselves. It is Wednesday morning. Manchester United news is upon us. Manchester United, a little bit of Manchester United transfer news, transfer battles that are on their way, battles that are about to happen. Little bit of news about that. Everyone's saying they're late. Who they're going to blame? You know, it's a couple of
Well,
minutes.
I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this, and I don't want to mix. I don't want to mix. I don't want to make stuff up in the morning as well. We tell the truth here on the channel, and it's all KG. It's all KG. It's lateness that stems from yesterday as well. I saw him yesterday saying, "I'm never late. I'm hardly ever late." Incorrect. That's not factual. That is not accurate. I said he was late a light 80% of the time. I think I was being generous. I think I was being generous yesterday. I can think of 3 instances recently where he was late. So it was his fault again today, even though he's not here and he's not aware of this. It was his fault.
Or do I keep the energy consistent? Look at who it was, why we were late. Nah, let's just move on. Just get into the news. Let's get into the news. We've got a lot to talk about.
I've just explained the reason why we're late.
Yeah. I think you've covered it. I think you've covered it. I think you've given enough clarity to the situation.
Yeah.
This is what we've got to talk about. Jude Bellingham transfer battle. I always feel like there's a point where his name gets brought back up. Sometimes by a lot of credible sources, and it's actually Laurie Whitwell and some guys at The Athletic who have actually done a piece on this. So we will talk about that. Forward options: Griezmann, Osimhen, and Gakpo. There's some developing stories there about what could potentially go on in January/summer in terms of Manchester United's hunt for another forward. Player of the month. I like this player of the month. Eriksen, Varane, Sancho are the contenders for player of the month. So that's very interesting. And United, 238 million euros overspent. So we're going to talk about that as well. But straight off the bat, Owen, what have we got with Jude Bellingham? What's going on here? Is it just rubbish?
You stepped over my line. Hey, Jude. I was going to break into song, and I just I had it all planned out. I was going to get right close to the microphone, go, "Hey, Jude," and then start talking about this song. But I jumped the gun a little bit, so that's
Owen. Why?
Because it's early. It's early. I try to bring a little bit of optimism. I mean, I don't know, are we really going to get him? So why can't I sing my song every time? Actually, to be honest, every time I've sung a song about a player, have we actually got them?
No. So stop singing about them. Yeah.
Okay, I will throw it away. The Athletic, specifically James Pearce and Laurie Whitwell, are saying that a host of clubs, not just Manchester United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Chelsea all retain a strong interest on Jude Bellingham. Now, if Bellingham does push for a move, Dortmund are adamant he is valued at around 150 million euros, and there is no release clause involved in his contract. His family never gave an indication that they wanted one, which is quite key to all of this, because you look at some of the people that have left, specifically Haaland, right? If Haaland didn't have that release clause, that'd have been a much, much more complicated deal to do. And we've seen in recent years, big transfers such as Jadon Sancho when he left Manchester United. Dortmund can drive a pretty hard bargain. And you would argue that Jude Bellingham is probably a better and more important player than a Jadon Sancho in all actuality, right? That's going to cost a lot of money, and there's going to be a line going all the way back to the UK and around Europe of suitors. How do you feel about Manchester United's chances in signing, hey, Jude? Wow, he's muted as well. I've shocked him and stunned him into silence.
Good. You don't want to hear what I just said about you. I'm joking.
Wow.
Do you know what? This is not that high. Not that high chances of signing him compared to the rest. However, with Erik ten Hag there, it's a slightly higher percentage than before, I would say.
You saying anything is possible?
I'm saying some things can be possible. timing is everything. Imagine, I don't know, Man City. I think Liverpool. No, I think Liverpool will be the front runners for him.
Can they afford him? If we're talking 150 million
150 million,
euros,
yeah, probably not.
they'd have to sell. They'd have to sell
Yeah, they'd
someone. We
have to
know
sell.
Liverpool's net spend in recent years has not been high. I know that whenever the discussion about Liverpool spending gets brought up, people go, "Yeah, but you bought, Virgil van Dijk or Allison or whatever for big money," and they did. But at the same time, they sold Coutinho for a ton of money. They had been selling players too. So I don't know if Liverpool can afford just outright to go and spend 150 million euros, or if their owners would sanction that. Now, granted, watching them
130
this
million
season,
pounds, though they could. I think if they've done 100 million for Nunez, could they
but they also
structure a
sold
deal?
players. But they also sold
Yeah,
players.
they sold Mane for what, 30 million though? Wasn't loads. It was. I think they could. I think they could. I think they could. They could find
You think they
a
could?
package. They could find a package. Yeah, I think they could find a
I
package.
just, but then
I think they
okay,
could.
okay. But even if they could, then you're clearly going to be in a massive bidding war for the player with
Oh,
some pretty heavy hitters that can pay more than
100%.
that, like a
Yeah,
Man City, like a
yeah.
Chelsea, like a Manchester United. Madrid will find the money somehow,
But
some way.
Dortmund will probably just accept all them offers. But I think it'll probably go down to the player to
But
some
that's what I mean.
extent.
Like, but if
Yeah.
it then gets to a point where Dortmund are like, okay, it's 150 million, but then Chelsea or United come and go, we'll give you 160. Are Liverpool willing to keep going up? Can they afford to
No,
keep
no,
going up?
they've got to drop out. No, they can't. They can't do that. So yeah, if it gets to that, obviously that's not in the Liverpool makeup. But here's a question, and I know everyone could just be like, "Are you dumb?" Absolutely, yes. Is he worth 150 million? Are we saying that? Jude Bellingham, current. If you look at current market price, is that a fair price?
Well, and in the
Jack
current
Grealish was
market,
100.
in the current
Nunez was
market,
100.
probably,
Yeah,
yeah. Let's be
yeah,
honest. In the current market, if you're going to compare anything to the current market's
yeah,
completely out of control. I've said before, inflation isn't just in Tesco's; it's in football as well.
yeah. It's everywhere.
Because it's everywhere when it comes to players, especially English players, right? Coming into the Premier League, it would be high. His age, of course, he's still incredibly young. It feels like every time there
There's a
is a
chap
big
saying no.
oh, interesting. But it feels like
Mm.
every time there is a big match that you see him compete in, whether it's the Champions League or whatever, he always delivers. He always stands out, doesn't he? And
I saw somebody the other day, right? And they said they tweeted this. I just want to see what everybody else thinks. They said not really on the Jude Bellingham hype. I think it was Pundit J. He said he's not really on the Bellingham hype. Doesn't seem to excel in any area particularly. Kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. Doesn't see the hype. Thinks he's decent, not like super duper. Do you think he's like super? Like you were just saying there, he always stands out. Like you said, when he plays Man City in the big games and or whatever Champions League, so young and he's still growing and he's still doing really well. Does stand out. Do you think he's like he's the next this kid here? Like yeah, if we're gonna spend 130 million or not, should we even be spending that as
yeah,
anymore on a player? Do you think he's that good?
I don't know if he's like when you're saying he's going to be the next, the star of his generation or anything like that. But he's certainly going to be the star at the moment. I think after the World Cup, as well, you have to remember as well, he's probably going to play games at the World Cup at a young age too, and that's only going to drive his price up even higher. Um, and there's a reason why all of these clubs are interested in him. There was a reason all of these clubs were interested in him before he even went to Dortmund. He did the tour
Yeah.
of Europe.
We tried to get him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've taken him around the training grounds. Clearly, the guy's a talent,
Yeah.
and
Of course.
and he's going to be like that seemingly for the next decade plus. Even longer than that. And this is the thing with this kind of money. And I know people look at that and go, 150 million euros, like 130 million quid. That's astronomical, but we said it a bit like with Anthony, and Anthony obviously was less than Bellingham. But if you can get a player that is consistently good for, say, a decade or so, then it immediately becomes worth it because that gets spread across 10, 15 years. And we know for a lot of these clubs, I mean, Liverpool, you can look at them at this season that they desperately need a midfielder.
They probably need him the most. Yeah.
Manchester City, if they got him, it's just another string to their bow. You go, oh, they can't be stopped
Another
now.
reason to stop watching
Yeah,
football.
exactly.
Yeah.
Another, they can't be stopped now. Real Madrid, their midfield's already unbelievable. But again, if you think, well, their European dominance could really continue, Manchester United, if we could get him in our midfield,
Yeah.
Maybe we start
Every
competing.
team, I think the unanimous thing there is every team that has him
Needs him.
maybe bar Man City, because unless they sold like Silva this time, like unless something happened, like every team he gets into straight away.
Yeah. And then it can't be about, and I think that I was quite surprised actually in the chat where they were all saying he's not worth 150 million. But I genuinely, and I'm not just saying this, I do think that's the market at the moment. I feel like
Does
in
he
this
walk in
market,
a
he's
style our team
I think so.
now?
I think
So
so.
if Casemiro was doing the Casemiro things and Eriksen and Bruno, you just drop Eriksen and play Jude Bellingham? Is that what we're saying?
I don't think is Bellingham a similar player to Christian Eriksen in that role. I don't think Jude Bellingham comes in and plays a deep line
So is he
playmaker
better than
role.
Casemiro then?
If I had a choice to play Bellingham or Casemiro today, who would I pick?
Yeah.
I'd probably pick Bellingham, honestly. It makes more logical sense
Is he
to
better than
play
McTominay?
him. Come on. What
That's
are you trying
asking.
to do? What are you trying to what do you think? Do you think he's better than McTominay?
Don't know. Ten Hag might have to wait. I don't know. Ten Hag might not. Don't know. He likes McTominay.
But do you think he's better than McTominay? That was the
Yeah,
question.
I do.
He is better than McTominay.
Yeah, I do think that. So
But what role does he
right
have
now,
in
that's what I'm
Manchester
saying. So
United?
in England, so if he came this summer
Yeah.
along with Eriksen and Casemiro, and it's a bit of a leading question because we can see how our midfield's actually working at current. But say before we kicked a ball, who would you just off of the net, like off of who's there? Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen, Jude Bellingham. Would the easy option just be like, oh yeah, Eriksen's just come, we might not be able to play it. We just put Bellingham in, and Casemiro is like name brand, and Bruno's Bruno. Would it be that?
Well, what midfield do we play at the moment? We play Eriksen and McTominay. That's the two, isn't it?
Yeah.
But Bellingham doesn't really do that McTominay Casemiro role, really, does he?
No. So where does he fit into?
But I think he would. But I think.
You see what I mean? Let's go and get this guy for 130 million.
But you still get him.
I'm saying.
You saying we don't need him?
I'm saying for the future.
You saying we don't need him?
No, I'm saying we do. I'm saying we do need a player, like a young up and coming player, like a player who's like I say, next steps of his career, proved it in Europe, played for the national team, and really should be starting for the national team next now. It's got to be. Like Calvin Phillips has dropped off now because injuries,
surgery. Yeah,
exactly. So, is he? Oh, he's having surgery as well.
Yeah, he's in a race for the World Cup. Yeah.
Oh, so he's not going to get any consistent. He might not even go, depending on what happens on that, which would be a bit of appeal for him to take after doing so well in the Euros. But that's football, isn't it? Hope he gets better soon, though. It's got Bellingham he's it. It's got to be what Henderson's on his. It's got to be Bellingham and Rice. Really, has to be. There's no other partnership that can really suffice. Really, knowing Gareth Southgate probably found a way to steal Henderson
and plus you want to get seven right backs in. Got to get him in.
Exactly. That's a different story. But no, look, would Manchester United love to have a player with Jude Bellingham's quality? Of course. It's one of the ones where you work out after.
Exactly. You make it work.
Eriksen's the other side of 30. It's competition for places. There's nothing guaranteed. But it is just weird off the top of my head right now of how we're playing with our midfield. Eriksen's arguably the most important person in it. Is Jude that type of progressive passer through the lines, like Eriksen, control the game? Don't really see him being that. He's like box to box.
He can't do the Eriksen role, but
can't do the Eriksen role. So hold on, he can't do the Eriksen role. He can't do the Casemiro role. What role can he do then? Bruno, number 10. What are we saying here?
He's not a 10.
So what is he? What role is he?
I would think, like you said, box to box clearly, but we don't really play with a box to box midfielder at the moment.
So we get rid of Fred and then you bring in him. That's an upgrade.
I think you, like I said, you make it work. You don't turn down someone like Jude Bellingham because you go, wow, at the moment, I'm not really sure he'd fit into this. You go, well, get him in.
You see, when we've said no more big money signings, no more like big names, 150,
who said that?
130. Like a lot of fans, like during this rebuild, that's been a bit of a common theme, innit? We don't need players that are, everyone was saying, mainly because he's not worth the money because he ain't that good. The Rice thing, like 150 million, get out. 100 million, get out. Like for Rice, no way, overpriced. But with Bellingham, there seems to be a bit more. He's doing it in the Champions League, so people are saying basically, I feel the consensus that Bellingham's better than Rice. Yeah, so let's go with that. Would you be concerned, and you guys at home, with the whole like huge money thing again. Like, I get why he costs that. He's young, he's English. I know all that. I'm just saying the price with the direction we're trying to go in. Would you guys be happy spending 130, 150 million pounds on Jude Bellingham next summer?
I think also the concern might be from United, depending on how this season goes and how it ends up, we're still going to
Yeah,
be recruiting for multiple positions next season, you think. And if you do spend 150 million euros on a midfielder, given United's history of spending, you maybe get one more player in, maybe. In
100%.
addition to that, and then you say, okay, can United really afford to go through a summer where they only recruit for two positions when there are still multiple positions that we need to recruit for? But of course, that does all depend on how the season ends. As I mentioned, results change a lot of things in football because we could get to the end of the season, and if we finish in the top four, if we finish fourth or we finish third, we could say, actually, we only need two players really to go forward and progress a little bit further. We only need that little sprinkling on the top. Who knows?
Would we though?
Um,
Would that
I
change
don't, I don't
if we
know because
if we
again, it
had a
depends how the
season where we were
season
like,
goes.
would you think Eric Ten Hag would change the plan of what we needed? It just because we finished a little bit higher? Because there's a lot of variables of why you could finish higher, which we've seen before that aren't tangible for a long period. I still think if we do better than we thought, I think still stick to the plan. I think that's the worst thing we could do. If we finish third and thought, bloody hell, flipping it, how do we do that? I'll tell you what, we don't need as much depth as we think we do.
But
These lads done
maybe
all
not.
right.
But maybe
Let's
again,
just get two.
maybe it's not flipping. How did we do that? Maybe it's that was actually pretty. That was good. That was comfortable. Maybe say like
That would
Martial
worry me,
does.
man.
Say Martial
That
does
would
go to
worry
the
me.
end of the season, plays all the games.
Yeah, so then we go, no, what? We don't need an Osimhen or a Gakpo or whoever. Let's just let's
What
just
if
have Martial.
what if
That
next
worries
season
me.
then it was just Bellingham and a striker? Would you take that as a summer's transfer window?
No, because where's our right back?
We get one in January.
He's gonna have that. No, because there's still a lot of decisions. I mean, what happens with Rashford? Does he sign a new deal? What happens with Luke Shaw? What happens with like all these players who got question marks? Obviously, Ronaldo would probably go. That's fine. So we need another forward, though. You said a forward, but we need another forward with Ronaldo even here now.
So if we're going to recruit for maybe 4 positions, let's say next summer, a
I don't think
left
we could be
back,
spending
a right
150
back,
million on
a
it.
striker, and possibly he's going to want another midfielder. He still wanted
We
Frankie
still
De
need
Jong.
another midfield. Yeah, we still do need one.
But
100%.
so the point being is that we're probably going to be priced out because we're just not going to be able to afford it with the totality of the fees of everyone else, basically.
But
That's your
having
feeling.
said that, that is my feeling. But having said that, like you said, anything can happen in football. I would not. I a million percent would not rule out Man United wanting a player like that. I wouldn't even rule out someone like Eric Ten Hag wanting a player like that. Young, energetic, good on the ball, box to box. I think he's tactically astute, Jude Bellingham, and he's getting better. I don't know if we would have progressed far enough by the right time for him to make his next choice,
Would
i.e.,
he?
Liverpool are going to be. But then again, you could say that it could start to sway things. Liverpool
Yeah.
might not go on to have a good season, and people could see it as, oh wow, they fell off a little bit. Then we might, get in there, get Bellingham over them. Bellingham might look at it, goes, you know what, they've actually gone in the right direction. I saw what Anthony was doing there last year, and Casemiro and Martinez and Malacia have changed the team. They got in the Champions League. It's now I'm ready to be like the spearhead of that. Or it could change versus the time when I drove in there in Carrington and thought, right now, I just need to play games, and it's better for me to go Dortmund. That was
Yeah,
3 years ago now. So
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, would he want to come to us? Though that's the question, isn't it? As well, would
yeah,
he actually want? Because
I don't
look
think
at
right
these
now.
teams. Look at
I
these
don't think
teams
he is.
involved here. We're talking Real Madrid, possibly going to win their league. With Barcelona are better this season.
Yeah,
Liverpool, long way to go. You never know. Man City, they're going to win the league this
Bernardo
season.
Silva's going to leave at some point, isn't he? He's short. There's been 2 straight years now. He's kind of been close.
Yeah.
I think this is his last year. If he leaves and Man City pick up the phone to Jude Bellingham, forget Liverpool,
Yeah.
forget
Again,
Chelsea,
it's Real Madrid or Man City. If they pick up the
yeah.
phone, it's you're in
Tony
trouble.
Cruz retires, or
Yeah.
those
Modric
guys
goes.
feel like they're going on
Modric
for ages.
goes.
I know he's only got a year extension, isn't he, Modric? So
Yeah.
say Modric goes, you still got Camavinga, Chouamini, and then you go, right, we're
We're going to put Bellingham in.
Like taking a piss, but they could do it,
They
and
could.
then it's nice. It's game over. And why wouldn't
Mm.
Bellingham do that? Even PSG might even do a PSG. Want to go play with Mbappe and Neymar,
Maybe.
and you know what I mean. You never know with these things. So I don't think we'll get him, like you said, because of the price. Let's get the super chats out. Olu says, possible if Ten Hag can walk on water. So yeah, 0 to no chance there. Mankin Chicago says Bellingham is dope. Love from the US lads. Big up to Mank in Chicago, in Shawtown. The Xena film says Tammy or Osimhen. Tammy Abraham or Victor Osimhen. I really like the look of Victor Osimhen, you know. I
I mean,
think he's sharp,
I can't really
but it's
say
hard
because
because
I'm not going to say that I've seen a lot of Osimhen because I haven't. I mean, the games you see of him are the same games that a lot of people do, which are those Champions League games or those highlights, and obviously from them looks impressive. I mean, Tammy Abraham's doing well at Roma. I always had my doubts whether he could be like, a proper leading Premier League striker for a big club, but he scored goals in Italy. That is a tough one. They're both scoring goals in Italy, aren't they?
yeah, they're both. Yeah, Tammy
Uh,
Abraham's done really well at
Ask me at
Roma.
the end of this season.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. Just don't jump to the conclusions. I think that's a fair assessment. We're good there for the super chats. Remember, it's pinned in the chat. Vote for us in the following categories, as Josh has put there. I know he's put in these disgraceful awards, but the awards are not disgraceful. We want to win one. So
Especially if we win.
yeah, so I think Josh. I think you just Josh. Honestly, Josh is angry, but
Yeah.
they haven't done maybe the way around what we would have liked, but we want to win one. We want to win one. So
It's a compliment. We could have been in best new content creator, but what are we in? We're in best content creator. That's better than
yeah,
new. It's like forget new, best overall. So if you haven't already, be sure to vote for us there. And I think there's a couple
exactly.
other ones as well. So you
Yeah,
never know. You never know. Positive mindset,
yes.
Josh.
Forward options: Griezmann, Osimhen, and Gakpo. Oh, and what's the latest?
Yes, so this we've got a couple of stories here. One from the Athletic, and this has kind of been bubbling the last few days or so, hasn't it, Flex? About Griezmann. Of course, we know the stuff going on with Griezmann and coming on after the 60th minute for Atletico in pretty much every game this season. Because if he plays more than 45 minutes or something like that, and in a certain amount of games, they have to give Barcelona something like 40 million euros, and Barca are contemplating suing Atletico. It's a very complex situation. So the Athletic are reporting that Manchester United could try to sign Antoine Griezmann in January. Now, it's not the only forward options that Manchester United have, because the PSV director, Marcel Brands, has hinted when it comes to Cody Gakpo, there is an agreement in place to allow the player to leave if an asking price is met either in January or this summer, or the coming summer. He said, quote, "I can say with my hand on my heart that there has been no offer for Cody to which the management or supervisory board have said, we must do this. We did state that if there were certain offers we would have to sell, not only from a financial point of view, but also because agreements were made with the Gakpo camp before my time," basically suggesting that there is a number there. There is a number there, and there is an agreement in place with Cody Gakpo from PSV that if we get to this number, we're going to have to sell. Obviously, that number hasn't been met just yet, but it could be in January. It could be next summer. And when it comes to Victor Osimhen, who we just spoke about, it was reported yesterday, the Manchester Evening News covered this, that Manchester United will revive their interest in Victor Osimhen this January, according to reports. Of course, he's been linked with a move, obviously, in the summer with all of that Ronaldo stuff as well. He scored 30 goals in 68 outings since joining Napoli 2 years ago. However, there could be a huge stumbling block when it comes to the would-be pursuit, as the Italians have claimed a value of around 100 million euros, or possibly even more. But there are other clubs in the market
It's a
for
lot of
him. So
money,
you've
man.
got
It's a lot of money.
Griezmann, you've got Gakpo, and you've got Osimhen as all possible, options there. I think the common thread in all of them there, Flex, is that there could be something to be done there. Of course, the Griezmann uncertainty, the Cody Gakpo price being named, and by all accounts, United pretty much had something agreed with
They
PSV
wanted
and
him.
Gakpo,
Yeah, they
but it was
wanted
just a
him. Yeah,
case of Anthony happened, and they went, "We don't have any more money now, so we're not going
yeah.
to pursue that
They
one."
definitely wanted him. They just put it on call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the Osimhen one, that's a lot. I don't see. Can you imagine us spending over 100 million euros on a striker in
No,
January?
no,
Unless something
and
happens with Ronaldo, I don't know. But I mean, that's a lot.
no, that's never going to happen in January. No chance. I I'm not sure if any of them happen in January. Hakpo probably the most likely
That's
if there was
possible.
going to be a January move. I mean, he started the season like a house on fire. I was looking at his stats. He's like 10 goals in like the first 13 games, something like that. I I think because we were really concrete in for him and it was a real possibility. Obviously, the Ten
Mm,
Hag situation. I think he's got the same agent as him as well.
yeah.
Um, that's the one. Whether we want to strengthen the forward line there. Again, I look at Hakpo, and what I was seeing of him was mainly from the left hand side. I think as the squad's starting to kick on and develop a little bit, it's like you have to do it off when everyone's fit. So say Martial was here because he's going to be back soon whenever he's back, right? It's like you've got Martial who can play on the left, but is totally seen as a striker by Eric Ten Hag. Totally seen as a striker. Hasn't even tried him in that position once. We just know he can play there from past, but unless there was real injury crisis, like Rashford and Sancho got injured, and it was only Ronaldo, Antony, and Martial that were available, then yeah, you'd get Antony on the right, Ronaldo up front, and you say Martial right, everyone else is injured. But it's very rarely going to happen, yeah? So my thing is that Ronaldo's obviously probably going to leave. Maybe not in January. I'm not sure if he does. I know you were saying you would get rid of it, like do it in January. If we can find a solution and he's not happy, cool, whatever, we don't know. But I still think he'll stay the year. We want another 9. I think we want another actual, someone who's going to bag goals. Like guarantees a big word, and that's why they cost a lot of money, But you want that sort of surety that someone's going to get you double figures,
I don't even know if it's goals. I don't know if it's goals. I think it's
or
just
facilitating, I suppose.
Want a 9.
Yeah.
They want a 9 that can play in that position and can not only play in that position, but the way that Ten Hag wants that player to play.
Yeah.
He wants that person to be able to press from the front and also be able to play with his back to goal and play off.
But it isn't Gakpo, and that's the thing that I think.
I agree.
It's not him.
When we were going after him in the summer, it was another winger, wasn't it? He wants options out wide, and I don't think
it's not Griezmann either.
That. Griezmann, that is when I agree with you when you're saying about big names on big wages for. I don't think he'd be a big fee, but he'd be big name on a big wage. That I go. What do we benefit from that?
2016 vibes, isn't it?
What do we benefit from that? I think we nearly got him. I think was it 2018? It was pretty much a done deal, and then Atleti got the transfer ban, and he decided he was going to stay. And then I think a year later he goes to Barcelona. So it's not him. And Osimhen, I would be floored if Napoli, who during a season where they've got a really realistic chance of winning Serie A, and how many times have they come close? They've got a real realistic chance of winning the league, that they would let go their star striker. Yes, for a lot of money, but in January after World Cup,
and Ten Hag won't force it. Ten Hag will stay with what he's got, even if we're moaning and saying, we need this and we need that, and as fans, Ten Hag won't. How many times has he said? Millions of times. It's about the right player. We're not just going to get players for the sake of getting players. We've got to get the right player. So he's already spoken about planning in January, and we need to be ready in the market if things become available. So I think he'll seize any opportunity. He'll try and go for it, absolutely. But I don't think he forces it, because we just have to say we managed to get a striker in January. He would wait till the summer if it's the one. He would. Out of them options there as a trio, I don't see Osimhen leaving in January, not at all. Gakpo, yes, if the price is met, there's, like I said, that's the most realistic. But again, does it solve our striker options, especially if Ronaldo doesn't leave? Don't see that happening. And Griezmann,
here's one though. Yeah. Here's one. Could Gakpo be a possibility? Where does he play off? Left-hand side. What if Ten Hag actually says, you know what, Marcus Rashford, you're not playing off the left-hand side anymore. You are a striker. You and Martial are my 2 striking options. I need someone else on the left-hand side. There's Cody Gakpo. And maybe that's the easiest way to resolve having an extra striker, in that Rashford isn't even considered anymore.
What, Ronaldo's still here?
Side. Ronaldo, I don't know. Maybe, well, even if Ronaldo stays or leaves, actually, it's kind of redundant. He just moves Rashford into that central spot. So now you've got 3 striking options, and your left options from the left-hand side are Sancho and Gakpo. Could that be the shuffling?
Obviously can still play there.
Could that be the shuffling that they do to get them to the end of the season?
I think you can't rule that out. I'm just going by the pre-season. I know it seems like a long time ago and things have kicked on, and Ronaldo wasn't there, so we'll probably never know whether he would have done it if Ronaldo was on tour or not. But he wanted Sancho, Martial, Rashford in that like that. He set his stall out on that. He really wanted to do that. And if Martial wasn't injured,
he was also recruiting for a right-hand-sided player, wasn't he? So that wasn't his primary front three.
Yeah, that's because but I think that's because, true. Well, we needed more though as well, because we only had. Remember, we were saying if one of those gets injured, we are toast. We actually thought Ronaldo was going to leave by then, wasn't it? It wasn't on the tour. We thought it was all over. He's gone. And it was like, after that we've got Chong, Ahmad, Pellistri, and Elanga. Like it was a massive, massive worry. So across all of them positions, whether it's left wing, right wing, and up front, because we thought Ronaldo was gone. We needed three. We needed back up to the right wing. We needed back up to the left wing. We needed back up for up front. And that didn't really change because, even when it was Sancho there, we was like, we badly need Anthony or a player out there. Even if he comes in and starts, great. Okay, then it's for Sancho to find another spot. But, we need it. And vice versa. Like with Rashford's situation, because Martial's seen as a striker, let alone that he's injured, there isn't really a direct replacement for him, but in turn, it means that it frees up Sancho to go over that side, which he's been doing. And then you get, which just literally proves, Anthony's literally proved why we've needed him already. Forget the goal against Arsenal. Just someone got injured and we needed to shift things around. Look at the last Europa League game because he wanted to play his A team, and he did. But that was without Marcus Rashford because he was injured. So,
that's what I mean with Gakpo. Might he look at it as, what? It's not a complete proper striker, but it's numbers. And if we have numbers in those front three positions,
I've got options.
They can be interchanged, and I'm going to need numbers because even though we've signed Anthony, if something happens to him, then you're like, okay, Sancho's on the right hand side, but Rashford then it goes on the left. But what's the striker option really going to be like? Is Martial going to be fit? You play Ronaldo there. Is Ronaldo really what I want there? It becomes a bit of an issue again. Maybe he might just want options. He might want that extra option of, well, I can play Gakpo from the left, and let's be honest, he could play from the right hand side or up front as a job if he needed to. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's the easiest deal to do, and it's an option to have in those front three areas.
Yeah, I can 100% see that point because that's what I mean. Ten Hag, he clearly
it's not a
likes the
long-term
player.
option. It's not. This is your striker, and maybe
No,
that's
it's
what
not
we
a
should be going
long-term option.
towards.
It's not a long-term option, but also it's not an option that is just short-termism in terms of, he's not going to really. He will have a plan for Gakpo, like if he does come, if he did come, but
and his output. We know his output. His output arguably is better than Anthony.
He's
right?
direct, 100%. He's very direct. Awkward body, like quite long and like lanky, and it's quick, direct. So yeah, look, I look, if he came, I wouldn't be like, why we get, there's definitely a cross. It's about giving Ten Hag as much options and firepower as possible, and that's what we need. We need genuine quality and competition across the whole squad. I'm no player FC. Any player can get it competition wise. No, I'm not. I'm not player FC.
What about Varane?
I have certain players that I want to get on the back of my shirt.
What about you're not player FC? What about Varane?
What about him?
You Rolls Royce, he's your guy. I believe is the phrase you've used. Your guy.
Yeah. He is.
Sounds very player FC-ish to me.
I never said that. No one should ever play over him again or whatever. I've just been like, Oh, speaking of this, it's Player of the Month. It's Player of the Month. And this isn't before you accuse
I was going to bring up two people as well. Shall we get into Player of the Month? Yeah, that's Player of the Month. Manchester United September Player of the Month nominees have been released. One is Christian Eriksen, another is Raphael Varane, and another is Jadon Sancho. Who would you pick though? Since you're not Player FC, and just two of them happen to be your favourites, how can you choose between the two?
Well,
it's like choosing between your children.
I'll open up my statement, and my opening statement will be this: I don't get to put forward the candidates of Player of the Month. Who does? Is it the Premier League? Is it the club? They just choose three.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think the fans choose the nominees, and unless maybe is there like for the player of the match? Is there like a voting thing? Maybe they do it like that, and then they go, "Oh, these are the average."
Is it the players? I don't know. I don't know, but anyway, I don't choose it. It's not me. Yeah, because you could think that there's two of his play like that. It's not me who's done this. This is on the official Man United, but this is a real thing.
This is not United View Player of the Month. This is Manchester United official.
This is the official actual. So this isn't Fleck. Just getting Josh to make a graphic and say put somebody to play. No, this is real. So that's the first thing. Who would I pick? That's a really difficult one. It's a really difficult one because Jadon Sancho, I think, is starting to just cook. He's starting to just, rise up. So he deservedly deserves a shout, honorary mention. But Christian Eriksen has been, I keep saying it, he's literally transformed our whole midfield. However, the Rolls Royce, the Phantom, the Wraith, the Ghost, he is just quietly just orchestrating whilst Malacia and Martinez run around like madmen, and rightly so, he's just marshalling everything. Eriksen or Varane. And the comeback in terms of, like, he just wasn't playing last year, couldn't get him fit. If we're talking about comebacks, Eriksen's obviously way better in terms of life, but but he's been playing at Brentford. He probably played more games than Varane in the end.
Yeah, exactly. We can't give player of the month based on by he played games. Good for him.
No, but you know what I mean? Like the comeback to the forefront of, like, like it just looked like but he started fourth choice centre back. We were like, fucking hell, how are we going to get Varane going? What's happened here? And I remember you saying, touch wood, you said to me quite a few times, yeah, but Flex, he's going to get injured. Just be honest, mate. That's what's going to happen. I said, well, I still believe.
There's a long way.
And you all laughed at me.
There's a long way to go. Where is he right now? Where is he right now?
He's in his hotel room.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoke to him earlier. All right, let me cut to the chase. I'm gonna go Eriksen.
Oh, as you call him, Eric son, because he's your son.
No, Eriksen. Scandinavian Eriksen.
I agree with you. I would probably go Christian Eriksen. I think, though, in fairness to him, obviously, I think a lot of people, we've just had the discussion there about Eriksen and Varane being the two front runners there. I don't think you can overlook Sancho. Again, this is what is kind of wild about him recently, isn't it? Is that, yeah, he didn't get called up for England, but I said before, his numbers are really good. They're good. How many goals is it? It's 3 goals in 6 games or something like that. A couple of assists as well. Yeah. You know, there is still criticism levied towards him about, I don't know, pace or work rate or whatever, which, the pace stuff is what it is, but he's finding ways to overcome it because he's scoring goals. That's what you want. You want to get him to get assists too. So he definitely does deserve an honourable mention. In terms of the impact that the player is having on the side, I think you have to go with Christian Eriksen, I think. Varane, like you said, played very well. It would be, the difference I would say is that it's the partnership that is key between Varane and Martinez. If Varane's playing alongside Harry Maguire, I don't think he gets nominated for Player of the Month because I think it's a different story. I think,
but that's the same with any of the centre backs, though. If Martinez was playing alongside Maguire,
exactly,
he would have done a good start as well.
So that's what I mean. I think it's the pairing. I think the pairing complements each other so well, and it brings out the best in each other. Whereas I think Christian Eriksen brings out the best in everyone around him. I think he's just galvanized the team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, if Rafael Varane's injured and someone else has to play, you go,
I was just about to say, who's a bigger miss?
I think we can get through it. Eriksen, if he's not playing, we really struggle. We saw when he came off. We created
if we had to, yeah, I agree with you. So let me just paint a picture though. If Varane was injured and you had to play Maguire next to him, right? Or Eriksen was injured.
Why do I have to?
Okay, you could do Lindelof, right? Because I would do that. It's a bigger drop off in quality by playing. If it was Lindelof and Martinez, would we get by basically? But if it was Casemiro and McTominay because Eriksen got injured, it would just change completely, wouldn't it?
I mean, I guess
it would have a big impact if they weren't there.
Yeah, I guess it does balance it out because you could argue, well, if Eriksen doesn't play and it is Casemiro and Fred or Casemiro and McTominay, we're not going to create that much. We still got the strong back four, so we might not concede. But if you had the back four, you might concede, but you'd be creating stuff. You'd have Eriksen on the pitch.
I'm saying that right now.
Because you could argue
Eriksen. I think Eriksen's a bigger miss right now.
In the games we lost this season, Eriksen played both of them.
Yeah, but he played up. True.
First one he did. The second one he didn't.
That's a great shout. Every single game we've played with him, we've won.
Yeah, Varane. The season.
And Eriksen played half against Sociedad and we lost. I know, he didn't play the whole game, but Varane wasn't in that. Came straight back.
I still give it to Eriksen. That's a
big shout, though. You can't really argue with that, Owen. Every game I've played in, we've won. Any game I haven't played in, we've lost. Not even drawn. Lost. Could be a bit Rolls Royce-ish, I think we're disrespecting the Wraith, the Ghost, the Phantom. I don't know. Owen?
Well, we said Owen for. You picked Eriksen too.
Yeah, I know, but I think we might have to. We need the poll. We need a poll.
Yeah.
We need a poll.
You're going to do sports day settings and say you can share it.
Nah, it has to be a winner.
You can share it. You all get an award because you've been nominated.
Nah, none of that. It's winners only. Josh, if we can actually, I don't know if Josh can do it. I don't know if he's there. Let me. Well, I know he's there, but let me Get a poll.
He's probably stirring his porridge.
Actually, no, I
like a
think he'll do it. I
madman,
think he'll do it. I
like
think
a madman.
he
He's
hasn't been
very
in my ear, but
particular.
oh, he's
There
done
you
it.
go.
Look at
There you
that.
go.
There you go.
He's very particular about his porridge.
Reliable.
Yeah, he's
He is
stirring
eating
his
his
porridge.
porridge.
Exactly. I told you, he's very particular. It's got to have so many different stirs. No one else could touch it. He walks around the studio and does this consistency thing where he goes, "Look at that. Look at that." And I go, "Okay,
Yeah.
it's a disgrace. It's watery. It's disgusting."
By the way, Ericsson is steaming out in front with 68% of the vote straight away. So we'll leave that and let that cook whilst we move on. Super chat from Anthony Yo2 says United set the market price by continuously spending over the top for players. They see you spend 100 million on Anthony, and of course they ask for more. And Trey says Maguire smoking that Joaquin Phoenix pack. I do know that's a joker. Yeah, because I know you'll be like,
that's a film that Josh hasn't seen. Joker.
Disgrace, cheats.
That is a disgrace.
Says he's a comic book man,
I
does
know.
all the thing, and
I know.
hasn't even seen that. Disgrace,
Because he was
cheats.
talking about, we were talking about spoilers
Disgusting.
for something the other day, and he went, "Well, Joker spoilers." When it's been out for like 4 years.
Unbelievable. If even I've seen it over you, and you're a
Yeah.
Batman fan, even though it's not Batman, I know it's not. No. It's Joker. Yeah. Disgrace, cheat. Awful fan. Awful fan. Yeah.
Awful.
Owen, let's get on to United 238 million euros overspending.
This is a really interesting one. This is fascinating because we were talking about transfers this morning. So this was a study by Swiss-based CIES Football Observatory, and it was published on Monday, and it showed that Manchester United had paid a combined 238 million euro more than the estimated total value of 33 players they had signed since July 2012. The Red Devils were found to have the highest overspend of any club in Europe's Big Five leagues when reported transfer fees were compared to the players' estimated value prior to the transfer. Again, this was above the likes of, we came top of this. We've overspent the most. Certainly we can top. But other clubs that we were near us were Juventus, PSG, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, in terms of, as I mentioned, overspend. But United top. Would you say that represents, just again, the sort of decade of mismanagement when it comes to transfer fees?
I am not. That's the only league we're going to finish top of anytime.
It's almost nice to actually see it in numbers. Almost, isn't it? Just to be like, actually, we're not going crazy.
So by the player values of the ones we've bought, they're saying that what they should have cost, versus what we did cost, it's an extra 238. That's across all of those players. So it's like Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bruno, Dan James, even though he's 15 million, but cool.
Exactly.
Varane, even though you got Sancho, basically all these players that are kind of
So other people.
When is it from? When is it from?
From 2012. So for the last 10 years. Yeah, from 2012.
Oh god, so it's like Fellaini, Mata, Schneiderlin.
Mm-hmm. We've overpaid 238 million euros. Other teams that were close to us, Juventus were second with 234 million euros. PSG were in third with 162 million euros. Aston Villa were fourth with 149 million euros. And Real Madrid were fifth with 148.
Okay, here's the thing about that. It's obviously it's weird because market values aren't definitive things, are they? So a market value of a player, obviously there can be astronomical ones where it's like you should, like the Harry Maguire one, we're like, bloody hell, like unbelievable. But they're always worth what that club sets, and that's just what the price is. It's not like, you're not allowed to sell a player for a certain amount because they're not worth that. There's a rule that says you can't do it. So it's always subjective. But I think you can what isn't subjective is that Man United have been overpaying for players. Whether it's to that 238 million on the dot, I don't know. But you don't need a precise calculation to tell you that Man United have been overspending on players, waiting too long. Anthony should not cost 80 million pounds, euros, whatever it is. No, or 100 million euros if it's all in, whatever. I've even forgotten now. Should not cost that. He's a player, no disrespect, because I wanted to do well. He looks like he's got a lot of ability. He's a player that should be 50 million pounds tops. Even the guys that we talk Ajax were saying that 50, 60 million tops. Darwin Núñez shouldn't be 100 million. Shouldn't be that. He was less than he was more than Haaland. So I get it. It's not completely transferable, but I'm not surprised to see us top at some sort of list like that because it's been going on for ages. For ages, look at the money we even wasted on Schweinsteiger. I'm not saying it was a massive fee, but he came. Then Mourinho came in and look, like, just put him in the under 23s and the kids, like, just paying his wages, all that money. That's the burning through cash. That is what Richard Arnold was talking about.
But also as
Burning
well,
through
what's
cash.
interesting with that is that, again, there's this, this mindset that, maybe the Premier League clubs, they pay more than others. But again, Man United have overpaid the most. The next two clubs are Juventus and PSG. The next one's Aston Villa and Real Madrid. But there are some big, look at someone like, it's funny that, isn't it, that United and Juventus, two big sides that are now struggling, they're actually, they're the ones that have overspent the most because it's bad investments. And if anything, this table represents, like, it's statistically in numbers that Manchester United are bad at negotiating. They can't negotiate.
Yeah,
They're not very good
exactly.
at it. They
And
overpay.
also, it shows as well, another reason is because the sell-on value or the players' depreciation from when we buy them to when we sell them is absolutely huge. The fact that Dan James can be up there as one of the highest, earning players that we've sold says everything. I don't know how we sold Dan James for what we sold him for. But by and large, look at all the players that we've got. Who's left here apart from, like, going back to, like, Ronaldo and stuff like that, like, hardly anyone. Hardly
Yeah, and
anyone
also,
comes in and we sell them for a bit more money.
to your point, actually, it explains why it's actually difficult to sell, move on these players, because we overpaid for them in the first place. They were
In the
never
first
worth
place.
that. They were never worth that amount of money. So we're never going to get, we're never going to get that or more for them because we've already
Look at Harry
overspent them.
Maguire.
They're
I
only
mean,
going to depreciate. Basically, we're never
look,
going to make money or get at least a good fee because we shouldn't have paid for them in the first place.
what would we? And look, this is me painting hypothetical. Say it gets to the end of the year and Harry Maguire's, he's only made 15 starts all year, across all comps. So he's obviously not favoured and stuff like that, and starts to get question marks about his future, whatnot. How much? And no banter. This is not like slab. Forget all the memes and all that. Just like business, yeah. What could we sell Harry Maguire for by the end of the season? Do you reckon? Honestly, and you lot get involved in the chat and don't be silly. I'm actually being serious.
Honestly, I reckon 30 to 40, maybe in that bracket. I think maybe 30 is a little bit too low, possibly 40, something like that. And that's me being legitimately serious. How old is he now? 29, something like
I
that.
think so. Yeah.
29. Yeah, I think about 40, honestly. And what Premier League club would he go to? Would he go to another top 6 club? I don't think so. I don't honestly. If Leicester weren't doing so bad, you would almost see him going back to a Leicester or something like that. Or you'd see him go to like an Aston Villa, maybe, or an Everton. But they're not. They're not teams that are competing. They're teams that, depending on how the season goes, they could be in a bit of a battle. So I see something like that. Yeah, and again, maybe 30 to 40-ish. I mean, what do you think?
Damien says Newcastle might take him. Next stage.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would.
Nah.
I think that, they're a couple of years away from attracting really, really big players. And the thing is with Harry Maguire is, does he go there for like, he doesn't sound like a 2-year deal or something like that.
No, it'll be his last big contract.
Yeah.
He'd want to.
So I could see him. I always could see him playing for Aston Villa or something like that. Back somewhat in the Midlands, still a big team,
Yeah, he can't go anywhere in the top 6.
English manager.
Can't go Chelsea, can't go Liverpool, can't go Man City, can't go Arsenal.
Everton.
Can't go Spurs?
I don't think Conte take him.
Nah, he wouldn't. Even though Conte might not be there long, you know what he's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think someone else put it there, 40 million max. I know, like, everybody wants to do the meme things and say, oh, it's like 5 million, 10 million. It's not. Like, he's Man United captain.
England international.
Like, these things, these things matter, even if the player hasn't done good. Well, West Ham, another one. I think, 40 million maximum, which again, even that, you've lost over half the money or half. We paid 80, didn't we? Not 85. Was it 85? We paid 80. I think 40 million max. And that just there proves it right there. Even Wan-Bissaka, what can you sell Wan-Bissaka for? 20 million tops?
I mean, what did we buy him for? 40?
50,
Something like 50.
I mean, that realization, that 50 million, bro.
Out of 800 and something right backs as well. What are we getting? What are we selling for now? What is the market value of Wan-Bissaka?
It's 20 million.
And the thing is,
we're like 17.
I think United wanted something like 25 this summer, and Palace, they weren't paying it. Even they're not paying that,
Yeah.
maybe I don't even know if it's 20, honestly. And that's no disrespect to
16.5
him.
with add-ons.
Something like that. Yeah. 17.25 plus, 3
Yeah.
million in
Nessie
installments.
says between 15 and 20. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I can't see it getting really over
How much would
20.
Luke Shaw go for?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because there's this, you feel like Luke Shaw's really old because he's been around for ages, but he's not. He's
No,
still,
he's not.
27. So
Yeah.
as a fullback that's got that much
Got
experience,
2 more contracts left.
England international, that is one where you'd say maybe what did we buy him for? 30, 35,
30,
I think.
yeah.
And that's a long time ago when the
And
market
that
was
was a
way
lot of
different
money for a
back
player that
then.
young.
Exactly.
Back then, yeah.
Do you think he goes for 35 today?
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience, Luke Shaw. I think it's weird. We'll probably break even on him, ironically, after 7 years. 8 years, however long he's been
I
here.
don't know if we do.
I think you could I think you could between 25 and
28.
yeah. Yeah, I'd say
Do you see,
be just short of what we
I
got him
don't
for.
see it getting to 30 for Luke Shaw.
Mm.
Plus, you
Between
have to
20
remember as well, how long does he have left on his contract? A year?
a year left, yeah.
That
So
would
yeah,
change things.
between 20 and 25.
Yeah, that
I'd
would
say.
change things as well. I mean, it could be even less than that. Year left in his contract, United need to
Yeah.
sell,
And we haven't given
plus
him a
big
new one, yeah.
wages, so the clubs will come up in saying, look, if we can afford can barely afford to pay his contract, so it'll have to be a bit lower. So he gets 15, 18,
Yeah.
something like that.
What's Fred go for?
Not what we bought him for.
50 million we bought him for.
What's he got left? A year left in his contract as well.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. Where would he go?
He could go abroad, Fred. He
He
could
would
go
go
like a
abroad.
Juve or something like that. Or
He would. I
no.
could see him going to a somewhat big side still. You know what I mean? I could see him going to like a PSG. I could see him going. It's the
Oh
type
yeah,
of
like
player
an
they
Idris
get.
Gueye kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's true. I see what you mean. I know people could laugh at that, but I actually do agree with you.
I could see that. I could see him, all like
Yeah,
you said,
that's
going
what I
to
mean. Like
Juventus
Juventus,
or
AC Milan,
AC Milan, Inter Milan, something
Napoli.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Inter. Like he could play on the continent. Definitely, he could
yeah.
go to
Or
Spain.
he could go Atletico, something like that.
Atletico. Yeah, Fred's not done like that, and then you'd see him
No,
probably play all right in them teams as well.
exactly. But in terms of a price, maybe a 20. I don't think he goes for a lot. He's 29.
Is he good
Yes, he's
last
got a
year
lot of
as well?
experience.
Yeah,
Last
because we
year,
done a
yeah,
trigger
as
to
well.
sell thing, didn't we?
Yeah,
Trigger
if you
to
do a
sell.
trigger to sell, he wouldn't go for a
Every
lot.
year.
But I
Yeah,
think he would go to a somewhat big side, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Plays
yeah,
for
that's true.
Brazil, that holds a lot of cachet when it comes to getting these moves.
Mm. Interesting stuff. It
Yeah.
is interesting
It's
stuff.
interesting when you think about that,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because he would go to a big team, but you're like, yeah, but is he good enough for Man United? But I could see him like PSG. You could see him playing there, couldn't you? You could see it.
Yeah, I could see him running around there. Well, if
Yeah.
Idris Gueye can go there from Everton, then Fred can go there.
Yeah. And then go back
Otherwise.
to Everton.
And
as well.
Herrera was. I know people could say Herrera was better than Fred, whatever. But that type of latter stages or 30-ish, then you make the move over there. A couple of years. I could see him do that. Casper has been a member of the UV Members Club for 3 months. Big up to Casper. He says Eriksen's my guy, the best midfielder in Manchester. I agree. Eriksen is. I know that's a bit of a reach, but yeah, he is top notch, guys. Wicked show this morning. Smash a like on a video. Where are we at likes wise? Actually, it could be disgraceful, could be a cheat. Yeah,
It's very
we're
disgraceful.
we're not even at 200. So on the way out, can you please smash a like on the video on the way out the door, and remember to vote for us in some of the categories as well that we've been nominated for in the Football Content Awards as well.
Does that mean we have to go to the award the thing in Manchester? I think it is the award ceremony.
Of course.
Does that mean I have to wear like a suit or something?
Don't have to wear a suit. Wear some smart wear. It doesn't
Smart
have
wear?
to be a suit.
Have you seen what I wear?
I have seen what you wear, but you don't have to go from what you wear to a suit. That's there is an in between. You could wear like a little. I could see you in like a cardigan.
You're gonna have to take me shopping like a parent. You're gonna have to walk me around.
I could style you. Would you fancy a cardigan with a turtleneck? Could you pull that off?
No.
No
Turtleneck.
Blazer. Turtleneck.
I could wear a V-neck.
You want V-neck? V-neck with
I used to wear when I worked in an office. When I worked in an office, I used to wear a V-neck with a shirt and tie.
I can imagine.
I was that guy, like on the touchline. You know what I mean? One of those.
Yeah. Full suit settings. I mean, it's probably a little bit too. That's probably a bit Will in betweenerish. Like it's
We can
too,
do it for a members video. Flex takes Owen shopping.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Could
That is
you
a
imagine?
wicked idea. That is a wicked idea. We're gonna get your outfit for the content awards. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a done deal. That is a sick idea. Josh, you're filming behind the scenes for Owen's outfit. That's what we're doing. We'll bring KG along as well. That'll be funny. Yeah. All right, guys. Smash the like on the video. We'll be back soon with another one tomorrow morning. See you then. Peace.